Today's sync sound is a physical. Turn your head to the left and cough in 3, 2, 1.
I hope someone gets that.
It didn't sound like you turned your head to the left. It sounded like you coughed right into the microphone.
Oh, I did.
Welcome to That Just Might Work. This is a show where we take a look at the everyday inventions that you might use on a regular basis, but don't think twice about. Then we think 3 times about them.
We're going to take a look at how they came about in the first place and what we might do to change them, for better or worse.
Yes, and thus has been the case so far. Worse. Always worse.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite idea that you've had so far?
I think maybe my last one, the mobile Pope-mobile.
Yeah, I don't know if I would give it to you for that one.
No.
Aside from following Tyler Womack, my favorite idea, I think, is still the morning time management system alarm clock.
Oh yeah.
Until today, I think we're going to change that.
All right.
Today's topic, and no funny business here, is the coffee mug.
I went silent again.
We're back to silence.
No sound.
We should just insert crowd applause.
That's what I want to do.
We need a studio audience. Is what we really need. Today's topic is the coffee mug, but we need to make a couple of distinctions. I need to make some before we jump into the history. If you've listened to the show, you know that we do follow a little bit of a format, starting with the history of the everyday item. But I think we want to narrow our focus a little bit towards the direction of the travel mug,
right,
or a coffee mug that you can take with you everywhere, correct?
Yeah. There's a lot that you could talk about with coffee mugs, so we kind of got to narrow our scope.
Right. And I'll tell you, I think I spent more time studying up on the history of mugs than I did, the measurement of time for episode 1.
Oh, wow.
So bear with me here. I want to make a couple of distinctions. A mug, and this is right off of Wikipedia, is a type of cup typically used for drinking hot beverages such as coffee, hot chocolate, soup, or tea. Mugs usually have handles and hold a larger amount of fluid than other types of cup.
Ooh.
A mug is a less formal style of drink container and is not usually used in formal place settings where a teacup or coffee cup is preferred. So there is a distinction between coffee mug and coffee cup.
It kind of sounds like they're saying mugs are for vulgar people.
That you could say that if this were the 1800s,
yep,
or 1700s. No, I think the vulgar people used the umbrellas right through the 1800s. We learned, right?
Yes.
What with the eye stabbings? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
A coffee cup is a container that coffee and espresso-based drinks are served in. Coffee cups are typically made of glazed ceramic, have a single handle for portability while the beverage is hot. Ceramic construction allows the beverage to be drunk while hot, providing insulation to the beverage, quickly washed with cold water without fear of breakage compared to typical glassware. And, they're less clunky, a little bit smaller and nicer looking than mugs, right?
I hope someone at home is, taking notes. They're like, the coffee mug.
All right, now everyone head to your kitchen and grab yourself a cup and a mug.
Yeah, get out a mug for this episode. It's going to help you.
Yeah, so I have a coffee with me. Did you get a coffee as well? I know we said we were going to do that, right?
I have a coffee here. I had to walk and go get it. And for anyone who's might not be listening today is like a negative 10-degree day out here.
It's only negative 10 over there?
Negative 10 without the wind chill, sorry.
Yeah, it was negative 19 here this morning.
Yeah.
So good day for coffee, though the only coffee I had on hand is caramel macchiato with an almond maple creamer. It's kind of got 4 too many flavors in it.
Yeah, I think I have black coffee here, so kind of the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's good. But we are caffeinated more than usual. So.
Highly.
This is good. Also, another distinction to make before we get to travel mugs is a vacuum flask. They kind of are the same thing in a lot of instances. A vacuum flask, also known as a Dewar flask, Dewar bottle or thermos. Thermos is the name brand. Is an insulating storage vessel that greatly lengthens the time over which contents remain hotter or cooler than the flask's surroundings. Invented by Sir James Dewar in, want to take a guess?
Oh, for the vacuum flask?
For the vacuum flask.
That seems like a newer technology. Let's say 1825.
You know what? You were in the century. So
Hey-yo.
I'm going to give you credit for that one. 1892.
I hope people at home are like, he got one.
He finally got a point. The vacuum flask consists of two flasks, which are placed one within the other and joined at the neck. The gap between the two flasks is partially evacuated of air, creating a near vacuum, which significantly reduces heat transfer by magic, as far as I'm concerned.
I was going to say, I feel like the fact that you're holding like a vacuum in your hand like that, it's very space-like.
Yeah, I'm reading all about how vacuum flasks work, and I'm just like, I don't know. It keeps stuff cold and hot longer. It's magic. I don't know.
That's the gist of it.
I don't really care to understand the science behind that. Travel mugs generally employ thermal insulation properties for transporting hot and cold liquids, similar to a vacuum flask, but they're well insulated, but not vacuumized, if that's a word. They're enclosed to prevent spillage or leaking. Generally, will have an opening that you can drink through.
Only generally.
I think they make travel mugs you have to screw the lid off of. No?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was still considering that an opening. I'm just picturing like a fully sealed mug you can never drink from.
You just need to have
it's actually a time capsule for your coffee.
You need to have some sort of opening device,
right?
Sledgehammer or hacksaw.
Yeah.
So that's a travel mug. And a couple of important notes on travel mugs, since that is going to be our focus today. I found this on the Wikipedia page for mugs. Mugs designed for usage when driving enable users to enjoy a beverage while driving.
Oh.
Yes, they typically have a spill-proof lid with a sipping opening, a narrower base so that they fit into cup holders in many vehicles.
Sure.
Additional criteria. They must be easy to open single-handedly to prevent distractions while driving.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oftentimes they include a fill line to prevent overfilling. I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, if there is one, I've ignored it.
Yeah,
I always
overfill mine, and then when you screw the lid on, it spills all over.
Yep.
Should not obstruct a driver's view of the road when he or she is drinking. I don't know. What does that coffee mug look like?
How big are these? Is it like the big gulp from 7-Eleven?
Yeah. Maybe when you tilt it up, it blocks your eyes. And with regard to cup holders, be able to fit stably into a wide range of mug holders.
All right. There's a lot of terminology out there.
Yeah, so, with the umbrella, last episode, for example, very simple. It was you had the shaft and you have the ribs.
Shaft and the ribs.
Was it the shaft? I don't think that's what it was called.
We only just started calling it that now.
So now let's get into the history.
Oh, okay.
Let's start with mugs in general. The OG mugs were wooden. And produced probably from the oldest time. That's a quote.
Oh.
But most of them have not survived intact. The first pottery was shaped by hand, later facilitated by the invention of the potter's wheel. So as you may guess, we're going a ways back for the original mugs.
Yep.
I have only an approximate time range. I'll give you credit if you fall within it. Want to take a guess?
Sure. I feel like I'm getting my bearings with the whole invention of pottery. I feel like the Egyptians had pottery. I don't actually know when they were around.
So that doesn't help you.
Nope. I know it was a long time ago. Let's say...
You know that Jesus drank out of containers.
Right. Did he have coffee? Okay. I'm going to say 1200 BC.
I'm going to say you're wrong again.
All right. One for two.
The range
today.
they gave me a big range between 6,500 and 3,000 BC.
I was on the right side, I guess. I'll take that.
On the right side of the existence of time, is that is that what you're saying?
Yep.
That original mug was easy to add a handle to the cup, thus producing a mug. And for example, they say a rather advanced decorated clay mug from between 4,000 and 5,000 BC was found in Greece.
Okay.
Now we're going to jump ahead like 10,000 plus years.
Almost. See, we went 10,000 years without innovation.
Yeah, no, well, not that far. That would be in the future, wouldn't it?
Probably. This is not the first time that I've had people tell me like the math sometimes in our show is just not right.
Oh no, you shouldn't. I mean, if you're taking notes, you shouldn't be taking notes on the math because it's all very. You shouldn't even be fact checking us at all.
Yeah, please don't.
Actually, on that note, I know I said we have the email for complaints. No one checks this at thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. I checked it.
Ooh. Anything?
No complaints. No complaints so far.
We must be doing something right.
Yeah. We have had some complaints on our Facebook page, but if they're not sent to us by email, I don't consider them formal complaints.
Just informal complaints. Not a big deal.
Yeah. It was a casual complaint.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the coffee cup lid. Usually made of plastic. The first patent for the coffee cup lid design was filed in what year, Jesse?
Well, patents, so that was after the Kings. I'm going to say 1898.
No, wrong century.
Was I close to the right century?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that was kind of a safe assumption to make. Don't give yourself too much credit here. 1967.
That's still pretty
coffee
far
cup.
off.
But think about that. In our parents' lifetime, coffee cup lids didn't exist.
What did they do?
I don't know. And in fact, one person, Louise Harpman, who is the co-owner with a Scott Specht of the world's largest collection of coffee cup lids.
Oh God.
I should have looked up. I didn't look up to see how many lids they actually have.
I was kind of saddened last episode by the people who spent their lives on umbrella patents, but to have the world's largest coffee cup lid collection.
Do you think that's worse than being a...
I think it might be. Because at least the other one was a job. This one's a hobby.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I just pulled up on Google here. Largest collection of disposable... Oh, these are disposable plastic coffee cup lids.
Oh, my God.
They store them under her bed in acid-free boxes.
Of course.
They have plastic coffee cup lids over 550. That doesn't seem like a substantial record to me.
No. I mean, I guess if they're completely distinct... Because I think a lot of, fast food places and stuff, they all use the same lids or the same
I think
brand
that's what
lids.
it is. There's some pictures here that none of them are the same. So 550 unique plastic coffee cup lids.
Oh, we should post some pictures of that.
Yeah. Put that on the blog. So moving on from the lids, travel mugs generally employ thermal insulation properties for transporting hot or cold liquids. They were introduced in what decade, Jesse?
Well, the lid only came about in 1967. I'm going to say the 1960s.
No, actually, the 1980s.
Oh, my God.
What happened in the time period between the invention of the lid and the travel mug?
Were people just staying at home but putting lids on their coffee?
Maybe, because part of the function of the lid, of course, is to keep it hot longer.
You sure? Yeah.
Maybe somebody put it on. They were like, wait a second.
I can move with this.
I can take this with me. It's not going to spill everywhere.
Oh, man.
It only took like 15 years for someone to figure that out. So that's the history on the coffee mug. And the next part of the show is where we take a look at why it sucks. What sucks about the modern coffee travel mug?
Yeah. I have a few things here. I think my biggest problem with the travel mug is that they're sometimes like annoying to clean, if that makes any sense. Like
yep.
you've got a lid and the lid's got moving pieces on it, and
it was actually my first point is difficult to wash, and it's easy to forget about washing them, and then they're dirty the next day.
Yep. And yeah, they can be pretty deep, so it's like almost harder to clean.
I have big hands. I can't even reach the bottom of some of them.
That's a hilarious. I'm just picturing you like sad and struggling to get to the bottom of your coffee mug.
I don't have disproportionately large hands. Just
so far for people
trying to get a mental picture.
For people picturing us, I have no biceps, and you have disproportionately large hands.
Right, except the no bicep thing is true for you.
People don't know that yet.
Right.
Yeah, I don't seem to have a problem lifting the coffee mug, at least when it's empty. Another thing I dislike is a lot of them have kind of poor liquid flow. I don't know, like the lids are poorly designed or something, and it doesn't like come out all that easily, or it comes out awkwardly.
Right, you kind of get like the soda can effect where it's kind of like chugging out of the vessel.
Yeah, and you don't really have that problem with like the traditional at-home coffee mug, which I think prefer.
Yeah, much more enjoyable to drink from.
And then, so I actually have, I think, what I would call a vacuum flask, and it's the Zojirushi vacuum thermos, #1 rated on Amazon, of course.
What is Zojirushi?
I'm just like plugging them, hoping they'll give us ad revenue.
Oh yeah, I don't have one, so I'll take a Zojirushi.
And I gotta say, like, I was very impressed by it. It is a vacuum flask. The coffee stays hot for so long, and it's impressive, but it's kind of annoying, actually. You know,
I was kind of thinking, and not to interrupt you, but you had said when we first spoke this morning that you walked to go get coffee, and now it's a couple hours later, and you're still drinking coffee, and I'm thinking, how cold is that coffee? But your coffee's still hot.
I mean, it's drinkable at this point. I wouldn't say it's hot, but I enjoy it.
Okay.
The problem I have with this vacuum flask is that if I filled it in the morning, I might be able to drink it on my commute home that day.
Like, because it's too hot.
Yeah, that's how hot this thing keeps coffee. It's insane.
Yes. And I'll add one of my notes. I said when I get coffee, I want it for my commute to work. It's typically too hot for me to drink for like the first half or like first 3/4 of my commute.
Right.
And I take it into the office with me. So I do find that coffee being too hot is an issue.
Yeah, somehow finding that balance, between not letting your coffee get cold right away and also keeping it, drinkable is kind of important.
It's difficult because, and I think you know more about coffee than I do, but it needs to be brewed at a hot temperature to actually be coffee.
Right. You can make cold brew coffee, but that takes like 10 hours.
Right.
It needs to be hot for it to happen
All
fast.
right. Yeah. So the heat, speeds up the transfer of whatever magic happens with coffee beans and water.
Yeah. So that's my list.
That's your list. The only things that I will also add is that I routinely spill coffee on myself with trout. I don't know if that's
it must be hard with those big hands. You barely hold the mug.
The mugs are just so tiny. They're like little. Is this a mug for ants?
Little teacups.
I also noted that. All right, so it takes a long time for it to be drinking temperature, and from that point, it gets cold very quickly. So I feel like I have like a 5-minute window to drink an entire 16 ounces of coffee sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
At optimal temperature. I also noted that most travel mugs are not convenient for iced coffee, and I like iced coffee. I want to say more than I like regular hot coffee.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
So it's just you put ice cubes in it, they're like sloshing around, and you really have an issue, with the drinking function of it.
Yep.
And I lastly just noted it doesn't fulfill all my needs as a vessel for consuming coffee.
All right.
So, from here, we go to Jesse for innovative news. Jesse's done some research, I hope, on the latest trends in coffee mug innovation, and maybe looked at some Kickstarters. What do you have? I'm nervous because I don't know what's out there.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be funny if I was just like, nope, didn't do any research.
Didn't do any research. All right, next section.
Moving on. No, of course. I found a couple good ones. I think, coffee, like almost everyone drinks coffee, so there's a lot of people trying to improve the way we consume it. A couple Kickstarters. The first one here is called the Hey Joe coffee mug. And this one's kind of cool. You might guess that someone had tried to do this. This is a coffee mug, like a travel coffee mug, that brews coffee on the go.
Son of a bitch. That's my... Check that off. I thought I was being original. Idea.
Anyway, This one, you insert little coffee pods, add water, and brew. It was successful. They raised over $100,000. I can't speak to like.
Damn it! I could have made $100,000.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I don't know. Maybe you could have done it better than them. It's hard to tell like what kind of quality coffee this is really going to make. My bigger complaint with it is that it's pretty large. I think because you need a lot of stuff in this mug to be able to brew coffee.
Yeah.
And not like end up drinking just like a mouthful of coffee grounds.
Right.
But that was kind of cool. The second, this one's not a Kickstarter. It's a pretty successful company called Ember, and they have both a home and a travel mug, 2 separate ones that are like sort of heat controlled. They're supposed to keep your coffee at, I guess, a drinkable temperature, which I like.
I like that too. That fixes the problem of it getting cold too quickly.
Now, things start getting a little bit more interesting. We've got the Joule heated mug, which is similar to the Ember, but this is, I don't think the mug itself does the heating. It's got, I don't know if I can even call this an innovation of the coffee mug, because it's got like a USB coaster that keeps your coffee warm.
It sounds like a hot plate.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's basically a hot plate. And they were successful, though. They raised a lot of money. And my thing that annoys me, though, is to actually get that much heat from a USB, like you're going to drain, if you're connecting this to your laptop, which is how they show it being used, you're going to drain your battery like real fast.
Right. Yeah. Assume that you're on the go with this contraption. You know, as you're mentioning these, I just want to interject. I'm thinking to myself, I would probably use all of this. Like, it'd be awesome to have a coffee mug that would brew my coffee, and then at work, I could put it on this little USB coaster, even though that's not, technically an innovation of the mug itself. Right. These are good ideas.
I'm interested to see what you came up with, because with that one, the Hey Joe, I can't imagine that cleaning that is very fun. There's no way your hands are fitting inside it. I'm certain of that. And again, it's got to have so many like intricate pieces on the inside. Okay. Now we get to where things get a little crazy. We have the goat mug. I kind of want
Is it for humans? Or?
I want you to just take a guess almost on what the goat mug is.
The goat mug. All right. Well, it could... The only thing that comes to mind is goat's milk.
I suppose you could put goat's milk in this, but...
Is it the greatest of all time?
Oh.
Mug?
I don't even know if they took advantage of that. They should have. But, no, it just looks like a goat horn. Now, the pointy part of this horn-shaped mug is actually the bottom. And so you might be saying, so I can never put it down on anything. And that's like kind of true. They designed like a separate sleeve that you have to have, and then you like take the sleeve off, you put it on the bottom, and now you can actually sit it on a table.
What else does it do?
That's it. It's supposed. That's it. It's just difficult to put down, and it's supposed to be like, I guess, fashionable. Like it comes with like not a harness, but like a strap.
Does it look like a real goat's horn?
It does, actually. It looks somewhat realistic. It's kind of got that bone-like ceramic color.
I don't see how that's fashionable, and I feel like they just made the coffee mug worse.
Yes. However, they were successful on Kickstarter.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, that's like I said. That's why I have high hopes for this podcast. People will buy anything.
I have learned from all my Kickstarter research that basically, if you have a good promo video, you'll be successful. Doesn't matter what the product is.
We should have a go with one of our inventions on Kickstarter.
Yeah, the see-through Michelin Man rainproof family suit. Let's make a good video for that.
The family suit. That's good.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe the family suite would be a better name for it.
Yeah, at that size, I think that's appropriate.
All right.
Wait, no, my last one, you're going to like it.
Oh, you have another one.
You're going to like it. The Thermacharge. Okay,
I like the name.
What I like here is that they kind of did... This isn't about keeping your coffee hot. This one, when you pour your hot coffee in, it can actually charge your phone. I feel like you might be like, that doesn't make any sense. But...
well, it does. Heat generates energy.
Right. So they use a thermoelectric device, which uses the Peltier effect, and... Normally,
yes, the Peltier effect.
Of course. Normally, you would kind of do this the opposite way. You would apply electric current, and you would generate on this device sort of a hot side and a cold side. But you can do the opposite. So if you apply something hot, let's say coffee, and as that heat moves from like sort of the hotter side to the colder side, you actually generate electrical current. It charges like a little battery in the base, and then you can charge your phone off of that. I like it because, like, if your coffee's gonna get cold anyway, you might as well like store that energy.
Yeah. What is that called again?
Thermacharge.
Okay. So, are you done?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Now we move on to the part of the show that the show takes its name from. That just might work. We've both sat around for a couple of days and thought about what would our invention, or how would we innovate the coffee mug to be perfect.
Right.
And the first thing I want to say is that I want to borrow the technology from the Thermature.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're just going to steal that.
Well, I was kind of upset because a couple of the things you mentioned did borrow functions of what I'm going to tell you about right now.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of being able to charge the battery with the heat from the coffee.
Right.
That just makes a lot of sense, because then while the coffee's hot, it's generating energy.
And so we'll just both add that to whatever else we say now.
Yeah, so add the thermocharge. Just assume that mine functions on the thermocharge battery cell.
Of course.
All right, so I don't have a name for this thing. It does resemble the modern-day travel mug in shape and size.
Okay.
I don't think that I have any complaints about the size of the travel mug generally, other than I can't get my giant hands into them.
Right.
It incorporates a stainless steel vessel that slides in and out of an outer sleeve, and that allows for ease of washing, and it's dishwasher safe, of course, and it's plenty wide for however large your fingers are.
Oh, great.
The outer sleeve is available in a variety of colors and materials. The one I'm picturing would be like leather.
Oh, okay. So very comfortable to hold.
Very comfortable to hold. It not going to feel too cold or feel too hot to your fingertips, and it is fashionable, because I thought about this, and maybe it's because we were talking about vulgar people and umbrellas and whatnot, but
right.
I think the coffee cup is like a modern American accessory and is a fashion item.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't decide to make it shaped like a goat horn, though.
No, I stayed away from animal body parts.
I'm starting to question
altogether.
your fashion expertise.
I'm not. I don't claim to be an expert, so don't hold that against me.
Okay.
The outer sleeve also incorporates. Ready for this? This is where we get crazy.
Okay.
An LCD screen.
Oh.
With Bluetooth that is, and Wi-Fi connectivity.
Nice.
And the base has a heating and cooling element, but of course is powered by the thermocharge.
Right, of course. Patent pending. Mm-hmm. Can I ask what the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are doing?
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
All right.
You just threw them in there, and I was like, all right, so it just emanates, radio energy.
All right, so I mentioned last episode, I think, that I like the way that a lot of modern devices are syncing through our phones, our smartphones, to the outside world and the internet, because that kind of implements all the technology and functionality of your phone into whatever else,
Yeah.
That was just the most logical way for me to do this. So the mug syncs to your phone, and from there it displays an array of useful information that pertains to coffee consumption on the LCD.
Ooh. like temperature, volume left.
Yes. All right. So you have a fill level, which is depicted as a gauge,
nice.
Like a gas gauge. That's kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
You have the temperature of the beverage inside, which is adjustable to your liking and controlled by the heating and cooling element. You also have, and this is kind of a little quirky, fun addition to it, the distance in miles to the nearest coffee fill-up.
Oh.
Which includes Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, your local coffee joint, etc.
I like that. So it can almost direct you.
Yeah, so you're running low on coffee, right? Your gauge is at 10%. You pick it up, and it's like, hey, there's Dunkin' Donuts a half a mile from here, and a Starbucks, if you prefer, 3/4 of a mile from here.
This would be good for the road trip.
Yeah, you press of the button, it sends directions to your phone, which is your GPS, right?
Yep.
So, any questions so far?
No, I'm a fan.
The mug also alerts you when you have... it should alert you when you're running low on coffee. I just thought of that. It should also alert you when you leave it behind, because it is synced to your phone.
Okay.
And I'm stealing that from the umbrella invention that we heard about.
This is another common thing that I think people leave behind. So
yeah, and this is probably going to be like a $200.
Right, you don't want to leave this one behind.
So it's going to let you know when you leave it behind, and it's also going to let you know when you haven't cleaned it, when you haven't removed the insert.
Oh, nice. It's got like a bacteria detection.
No, it's just like it can detect when the vessel is in place and not in place.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like say after 7 p.m. when most normal people aren't drinking any more coffee, it goes, it sends a little alert to your phone. It's like, hey, you haven't cleaned your coffee mug yet.
Clean your coffee mug, idiot.
Yeah, and it could, like, for some reason you want all of your technology to be really condescending and mean to you.
Yeah, I see. I seem to like being berated a little bit.
And last but not least, it can also brew coffee.
Ah, there it is. I knew it was coming.
This is a late addition to the idea. The heating element that heats the water can also function as a coffee percolator.
Okay.
Which heats water to the appropriate temperature, causes it to percolate up a let's say some sort of tubing system in the sleeve itself, and then it can pour the hot water over a standard sized coffee pod that sits in an optional coffee brewing tray accessory at the top of the vessel.
I'm starting to question the size of your mug now.
No, it's all right. So it's realistically a little bit bigger than maybe your average travel mug.
Okay.
But it's not absurdly large. The coffee pod sits right into the vessel.
Okay.
So there's not really like anything on top of the mug to facilitate brewing.
All right. How is it? It must be a pretty fast brew. You do it in the car.
It's like a portable Keurig brewer. So picture this. You're late because your alarm clock sucks for work.
Right.
You get up. It's raining. You get in your personal transparent Michelin Man suit.
It's quite an image.
You grab your mug. You grab a coffee pod, right, of your favorite flavor. Hop in your car. Toss the coffee pod right into your mug. Close it. Press a button. It's brewing. After it brews, because of course it has to brew at a hot temperature, it quickly adjusts the temperature of the coffee to your desired drinking temperature.
Okay.
And it stays there, and then it resumes, all of its fancy smart coffee mug functions.
I like this. It feels a little bit like something what's that store that they have in all the malls that's just like devices that are kind of, I don't know, stuffed full of electronics?
Sharper Image.
Sharper Image. Feels like something I might get there.
Yeah, so, and I apologize that this doesn't, affix to your body in some sort of a cyborg manner. I think I've been a little bit more outside of the box, but I think that we were closer with coffee mug innovation than we were with those other items.
In terms of practicality.
In terms of practicality, I feel like that's a mug, even if it were $200, I would buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to probably use this coffee mug at least 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So why not?
And it's so functional and stylish. You're going to use it at home too.
Ooh.
You can tell I'm rehearsing for the Kickstarter video.
Right, you need a good one.
Yeah. So that is my idea. Let's hear your idea.
Okay, so we have a couple. Again, we have a couple shared elements, and I think per usual, I'm like a little bit simpler, but I really like what I have here. Okay,
right, so picture the Pope Mobile.
Right, start with the Pope Mobile. That's how they're all going to start. So when I was thinking about this, I realized I love my regular ceramic coffee mug, like my at-home mug.
Yes,
I think the handle's great. I think having the whole top open, is nice. You have no issues with the flow of the liquid. Super easy to clean. Right.
I'll say one thing. Sorry to interrupt, but my favorite coffee mugs are the ones that they have at diners, and they're like real bulky.
Right.
They're just like that off-white eggshell color.
Yeah, and those are like the heavy ones.
That's like the perfect coffee mug in my mind.
So take your favorite coffee mug. Let's say that one. And the only reason you really can't bring it with you, right, is because, and that's not to say we don't sometimes, but it's hard to drive with something like that. So
yes,
similar to yours, this is going to be a regular ceramic coffee mug. You had like a stainless steel insert. This is your ceramic coffee mug and a separate travel container. Okay, the ceramic coffee mug can be inserted into the travel container, and then a lid closes to keep it snug and fit. You have something to say?
Yes. How does it? Is it like a sleeve, or is it like a sturdy outer container?
It's a sturdy, hard plastic container. You can sort of picture a regular travel mug.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds large.
The top portion of it might be, but the bottom portion is designed to fit in cup holders. Because I did, especially, you're not taking the handle off, right?
No.
So that's not going to fit, but it's got that extra base that will fit it inside of your cup holder.
Right.
And now the beauty of this is, when you get to your workplace, you have your regular coffee mug that you like so much. You're not stuck sitting at your desk drinking out of like a weird plastic contraption. The other added benefit, I think, for me is the cleanliness. You have your one mug, your travel container portion of it doesn't really need to be cleaned. Your coffee mug, you take out, you rinse, you refill, you reinsert it into the base.
Very easy to clean.
Right, which was a big thing for me. The other things I'm going to add here really quick, the thermocharge.
Wait, did you have a heating element before you learned about the thermocharge?
I did. I wanted to have a traditional, like, sort of, as you were saying, the travel container has a battery and just keeps your coffee mug, warm, at least on the commute.
Okay.
So, if we're taking the liberty of adding the thermocharge, I won't shy away from that. Now, I mean, I think that's my idea. I just really want to keep that traditional ceramic coffee mug and just let you bring it with you. And I like it. I have one slogan, and it's "Home is where the mug is," and that's how I'm selling it.
Home is where the mug is. So it's like you're taking your home with you to work.
Right. It makes your day at work a little bit more cozy,
a little more homely.
Yeah. I don't think homely is the right word. Home-like. Let's go with home-like.
I don't know. This travel container sounds a little homely.
Yeah, it makes you appear a little homely at work.
All right. Well, here's a thought. Why not just stick your invention inside of my invention?
I'm down with that.
Other than the form factor, I feel like we could totally do that.
Yeah, if you want to partner up on this, I'm down.
I'm down. I'll have my attorney contact yours.
Sounds good.
So on and so forth. I wonder, you think people will make money on any of these ideas?
I think at some point, if we keep doing this, we're gonna strike gold. Well, we won't. We'll say it, and someone else will strike gold on it.
Right. Like, it's an assumption that the Michelin Man suit's going to be a thing, but
yeah, that's in the works. I'm certain of it.
But this totally functional coffee mug idea, I don't know about that one.
You have your attorney contact mine, and then our attorneys will contact the thermocharge guy.
Yeah, we need to partner with those. All right, well, you know what? We could just get rid of the thermocharge thing, because they probably have a patent on that.
Yeah.
And just make it like it's USB charges.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we can take that.
All right, I like it.
Okay, so we're going to turn the tables here a little bit today, and yes. I'm actually going to be asking Jason our famous question: has someone died using the coffee mug?
Right. And you know what? It was a listener that pointed this out to us, that, I'm awarding you points, but at what point can I earn points? That's just not fair.
I'm just sadly, slowly accumulating points towards nothing.
And I think you still only have 1 point, right?
Yeah, it hasn't really been, a very fast growth.
So we're 3 episodes in, and you've only earned 1.
Right.
So what I need to do here is I need to guess whether somebody has died using a coffee mug, how it happened, and the important rules, of course. Just to state them again, is the death needs to have been inflicted by the mug itself, can't be self-inflicted by the person intentionally, and cannot, if somebody smashed somebody else over the face with a coffee mug, which I'm sure has happened, and it killed them, yeah. That doesn't count either.
Right. Murders don't count. I will say I found more than one instance where someone was murdered with a coffee mug.
Maybe that should be the game. I guess the answer is always going to be yes.
Yeah, right. Not much of a game. Maybe it could be how many people have been murdered by this object.
I think every object we've talked about so far, somebody has killed somebody else with it.
If we're learning anything, it's that humans are really violent.
Right?
And like you said, it has to be the mug itself. So if lightning strikes the mug that kills the person, that doesn't count.
Right.
And with your, mug and all its electronics, there's a risk there.
Yes, there is some electricity. Okay, so do you want me to go ahead and guess, or are you going to build this up?
Has someone died from the coffee mug, and how did it happen?
I should have thought about this beforehand. I'm not used to playing this game.
It's hard.
All right, so I'm just going to talk you through my thoughts here.
Okay.
Why do I feel so nervous?
You're on the spot.
Well, the answer, has almost always been yes. Like somebody in the existence of time has been stupid enough to kill. Like somebody probably bit into a coffee cup and the piece of the ceramic like punctured their stomach.
Right.
That's not my answer, by the way. But
Okay, you're just brainstorming.
I'm just brainstorming. Somebody could have swallowed a coffee mug, I suppose.
Oh God.
if it was, a little bit smaller in size.
If they were a snake, sure.
It can't be the coffee that killed someone, right?
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
It had to be the mug itself. What if the mug was so large that it affected one's ability to see while driving? And
That's interesting. The mug in that case is, I think, still an accomplice, and it's the car accident that killed the person.
All right, I'm gonna say yes. Somebody has died by coffee mug. Based upon current trends, I'm assuming it happened in the past 6 months.
Yeah, right. If it didn't, it's going to happen soon. Everyone be careful.
Yeah, careful when you make that coffee in the morning. And I'm going to assume that someone was laying down and dropped the mug square on their temple, and it knocked them out, and they died.
Oh, what a sad way to go. Well, I am, for my sake, happy to say that I think you're wrong.
No one's died.
I award you 0 points.
Oh, well, I guess I'm not too upset about that.
It's hard. And, I have to say, there's always a chance that we could have missed something and someone did die along the way, but I did a decent amount of research and I could not find a case where someone died. That's not to say, again, people weren't injured. I've got a few things here. A couple instances of exploding coffee mugs. Where people
think about that.
Where people, if you overboil the water in a microwave,
yes.
If a mug's got sort of a fracture in it, they can actually explode. So some people had either some burns or some like you can kind of assume some cuts from the shards of glass or ceramic.
That would have been a better guess than
dropping it on their temple.
Blunt trauma to the head.
And now, when you came up with that, I want you to picture. What was this person doing that they were holding it in a position where they could drop it on their temple?
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's. I just wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Another. I did want to bring this up. This is the coffee, not the mug, but I feel like people are probably thinking about it. The famous McDonald's lawsuit.
Yes,
you recall this one? A lot of people cite this as an example of a frivolous lawsuit. They think this woman spilled hot coffee on her lap and sued McDonald's. But
right.
They actually teach this at law schools as an example of something to the public eye that seems frivolous, but if you actually read the details of the case, it's not. She won.
She won the case. That set the precedent, and that's why. It's like we're a bunch of idiots. You go and you fill up a cup of hot coffee, and the lid and the cup itself had to be caution, contents are hot.
Right. Yeah.
No shit. You just put hot liquid into it.
Yeah.
Why would it not be hot?
Yeah. But she actually sustained third-degree burns all over her legs. And
I remember hearing that. She was severely burned.
Yeah, she spent a week or two in the hospital.
Skin grafts. Right?
Yep. And they found that McDonald's was keeping their coffee 20 to 30 degrees hotter than other restaurants.
So it stayed hotter longer?
Yeah, they wanted their coffee to sort of stay hot for people. And they had actually had previous complaints of people the coffee is too hot. They burned their mouth. They burned their arms, their temple.
Yeah.
So they were actually, they did lose that lawsuit.
I'll say this: if McDonald's is so concerned about having the coffee that stays the hottest, maybe we should be pitching our ideas to a fast food chain and not to Kickstarter.
True. If you buy this mug from McDonald's, maybe you get free refills or cheap refills.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, yeah. I could add McDonald's to the database of coffee fill-up stations.
You could have McDonald's pay you to make McDonald's the preferred fill-up station. Not bad.
I like it.
But
I'll
anyway,
say this, and just a little plug, McDonald's does have really good coffee.
They do. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
I'm loving it.
Okay. So you were actually close. Like, I kind of wish this couple had died. In 1978, a couple living in Seattle randomly started...
Oh, you know what I should have said? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Somebody dropped a coffee mug out of a balcony.
Oh.
And then it hit someone in the head.
That's interesting.
That would do it.
I'm gonna go back and make sure that hasn't happened. But this couple living in Seattle, they started getting very sick randomly. They were like vomiting, losing a lot of weight, severe abdominal pain, like behavioral changes, and like becoming delirious.
Yeah, 3 for 4 on sirens in your audio, by the way.
Not bad. That's gonna be like a new. We can have our listeners guess at the beginning, like
75%. That's pretty high.
Yeah. Anyway, they couldn't figure out what was going on, and the doctors, they like took out their gallbladder. They were doing all these things because they thought that they were, something else was causing it.
When did this happen again? What was the time frame?
1978.
Okay.
It turned out that they were heavy coffee drinkers, and they had purchased these mugs from a small family company in Italy, and
it was lead, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ceramic glaze on the mugs had lead in it, and they were drinking from them every day.
Lead poisoning.
And they actually got very close to dying.
They could have.
They could have died.
That would have been a half a point.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. You wouldn't think about it, but that's totally the coffee mug trying to kill you.
It's fun. I was sitting there and I was like, how could a coffee mug kill somebody? And a couple of instances, explosions and poisoning, neither of those came to mind. But, everyday objects are dangerous in more ways than one.
I got to imagine some of the people at home are like looking at their coffee mugs now like, what are you trying to do to me?
I know. I'm drinking out of a ceramic one, too.
It
says it's made in China, so who knows?
You've only got so much time left.
I don't drink out of it every day, at least.
That's good.
All right. But, that's a good question. Are we allowed to go and do research, post-episode, should we find that, or maybe tomorrow, let's say somebody drops a coffee mug out of a hotel balcony and it kills someone.
If that happens, you're going to be
poolside.
You're going to be like on the police suspect list, number 1. Like you went out and tried to throw a coffee mug off a building to kill someone.
Right. 100 coffee mugs were seen flying through the air. 40-second story. No, I'm not going to do that.
All right.
I
think we can award points like post episode. We'll just update people as we go along.
All right, we'll just keep track. So thus far, the score is 1-0, Jesse.
All right, in the lead.
And that is today's episode of That Just Might Work on the Coffee Mug. Thank you for listening. As per usual, do want to tell you you can follow us on the interwebs, on our social media. At Facebook, it's facebook.com/thatjustmightwork. Good place to leave casual complaints. Twitter, at TJMW Podcast. Follow Tyler Womack at TJMW.
I did want to just update that so far we've not heard from Tyler.
No, we haven't heard about it. I don't want to contact him directly. I just want to keep talking about him, as maybe our listenership grows, and just hope that it becomes apparent to him that he's actually a celebrity.
Right, like some friend of his will hear the episode and just pass along the news.
Right, and we're based in New York, so this has got to travel to Oakland, California before, we get Tyler Womack subscribed to the podcast.
It's a little experiment. How long will it take?
Yeah, it's kind of like a social experiment. By the way, he does have a website, too, tylerwomack.com.
Oh, man. Such good PR really for him.
It's really just... maybe we can get him a job. I mean, he's got a great portfolio of, he does, anyway. On Instagram, it's at That Just Might Work. On the web, thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. You can fill in your ideas on the contact form. Also, send them to ideas at thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. And as always, complaints to no one checks this at thatjustmightworkpodcast.com, but I do check it once in a while because if there's something good in there, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
All right, so that concludes today's episode. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to tune in next week. You never know, we may be talking about your favorite everyday object.
Thanks for listening.